Hi, folks. Doc Hanley here again. I want to pick up with some of the travel scams I was talking about previously. There were a few more I wanted to mention that I didn't get around to. One of them that kind of irked me in Athens, Greece. We were in front of the Parliament building, and there was an old goat there. He had some seeds in his hand. He had pigeons all over him, and we walked by him, and he motioned for me to hold my hand, and I held my hand out, and he poured seeds in it, and pigeons flocked all over me. And when they did that, he snapped one of those Polaroid photos, which are, the worst photos you can have, practically nothing. And then I didn't want a photo with a bunch of pigeons. I didn't even want a bunch of pigeons all over me. He wanted to sell me the photo for €5, which at that time was over $6. And I said, no, thank you. And he said, well, it's your picture. I said, no, that's your picture. And so anyway, my wife wanted to buy it. I said, baby, $6 for a Polaroid picture that you don't want, that's ridiculous. I said, this old goat's a scammer. I said, I don't like patronizing scammers. Well, she kept on, and I kept saying no, and he kept trying to force me to buy the picture, and I started telling him how sorry he was in English and Spanish. I figured he might know Spanish a little better than English. I didn't know Greek, or I would have told him in Greek. But anyway, we rocked on there for 3 or 4 minutes. Finally, my wife bought that photo for €3, which, a Polaroid photo of something you like is not worth €3. And a Polaroid photo of something that you don't even want, well, it's virtually worthless. But anyway, I fumed about that for an hour or two afterward because I said, baby, you got to use more judgment than that. It's obvious that the old guy's a scammer, and I didn't ask for a picture, and I didn't want a picture, and you can't give in to scammers. You have to just walk away. So anyway, she and I have different opinions about that. If we go to town, we had a guy come up to us in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We walked out of a restaurant, and the guy was dressed better than I was, and he gave us this hard luck tale. I'm sitting there thinking, if this guy's on the skids, he wouldn't be dressed like that. So, I started questioning him, and when people ask me for money, I start questioning them because I want to know their story. Because usually there's a lot of holes in it. But before I could get his story, my wife pulled out a 20 and handed it to him. So, she and I have a different outlook on that sort of thing. But the pigeon scam, I figure that it's not just Greece where you're going to run into the pigeon scam. So look out for that if you're traveling overseas. Another scam that we ran into in Athens, I call it the cherry scam. You go to the market in Athens, and they got these beautiful fruits and vegetables. I mean, this guy he probably had 200 pounds of cherries, probably more, on a big table. Beautiful cherries. And, the price was pretty good. It wasn't outstanding, but it wasn't a bad deal. So I bought a kilo of cherries. Well, I was sitting there looking at those good cherries. He grabs a scoops out from behind the pile, pours them in a bag. When we get home, about half of them are rotten. So, if you go to a fruit or vegetable market in Athens, or probably anywhere overseas, and you buy fruits or vegetables, insist on buying the ones that you see, and don't let them scoop them from the back of the pile. I learned things the hard way. I've learned a lot traveling around different places. I've learned a lot of hard lessons, but that's another lesson that I learned. And another lesson is dealing with beggars overseas, because if you go to a country where there's a lot of poor people, you'll see a lot of beggars, and especially kids. And a lot of times I give the kids something, maybe a few coins or a hamburger or something. But here my wife uh, tells me not to do it, because she said that 9 times out of 10, those beggar kids are hired by scamsters who get them to beg, and then they have to give the scamsters the money, and they'll give the kids a little bit of money for doing the begging, very little, I suspect. It's kind of like Garfield and Odie going trick or treating. Garfield told Odie, if you'll go trick or treating with me and be real good and do a good job, said, when we get home, I'll give you one piece of candy. So these beggar kids are essentially getting one piece of candy for begging, excuse me. And another scam I want to talk about, and this one again is fairly prevalent overseas. When you sit in a restaurant, you're usually eating and talking, and your tendency is to put your bags on the floor, especially purses. Women put purses, and what'll happen is there'll be people at a table very close to you, and while you're not looking, one of those people will take his or her toe and kind of pull the bag over toward them. And then when you're not looking, they'll pull it a little closer. And when they get close enough to reach it, they'll just pick it up and walk off. And next time you look, your bag is gone. I call that the restaurant foot hustle. But, you're going to run into that. So when you're in a crowded area, or even in an area that's not crowded, if you've got valuables, keep them in front of you. What I do, if I have, say, a satchel or bag with carrying handles, I'll stick my foot through the carrying handle. And I know this sounds like a lot of rigmarole, and I know if you go to anywhere in the United States other than a huge liberal city, you're not worried about people stealing your belongings. But in Europe and Asia, you've got to be careful, because people will steal it in a heartbeat. And so anyway, I suspect, the only times I've ever been to San Francisco and Los Angeles is flying through there. But I suspect San Francisco and Los Angeles are the same. And my wife bought tickets for us to go to New York, and we went to visit her sister in Canada, and she bought tickets for us to fly from Toronto to New York and spend the night in New York and look around. And I knew her sister liked to go to New York, and I said, well, baby, why don't you just carry your sister with you to New York, and I'll stay here in Toronto. Which is what I did, because I've never been to New York and I don't want to go to New York. So I'll leave it at that. Some people like a big, bustling, rude, scamming city. Me, I don't. And if I ever go to New York, it won't be of my own free will, unless I'm just flying through there going somewhere else. But anyway, those are some more scams to be cognizant of. And if you have any questions, and if you've been scammed, leave a comment below, and I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. I know I keep begging for subscribers, but this is a new channel, and I need to build a few subscribers, because when people run across your channel and they see you've got very few subscribers, they just assume that the channel is no good, that there's no point in subscribing to it, because otherwise you'd have a lot of subscribers. So you have to build a little momentum with an internet channel, and that's what I'm trying to do. If you want to make suggestions about future topics, I'm going to talk about a little bit in an upcoming video about men going to Thailand, to the Philippines, to Vietnam, looking for a girlfriend. And that there's some things you need to know about that, and some minor etiquette issues you need to be aware of. So I'll be dealing with that in a future episode. But anyway, I appreciate your tuning in today, and I hope that all will go well with you. This is Doc Hanley saying so long, and God bless you.